And thank you again to be here. For me, it's a big pleasure to be one more year here. And I will talk in the next minutes about that. 2 weeks ago, I talked more or less the same. You will see it's different a little bit. But my opinion, this could be, I hope that, I said yesterday, a very important subject, not only in this country or forever. I consider it's a very important thing. Well, we talk about the importance of the emissions, energy, etc. consumption linked to the maintenance of the roads. In general, we try to defend the pavement, we try to defend the maintenance, but we talk about the most used arguments are comfort and safety. And, well, I will say later, I can confirm now, it's not enough. Evidently, we see in Europe the level of roads, the level of bituminous mixture go down. And evidently, it's necessary to have a general overview in terms of emissions. In emissions, only derivated to the road transport, we are responsible, when we say we, the user of the cars, are responsible more than 20% of the greenhouse in Europe. And the pavement condition we know is linked, okay? And evidently we know a poor pavement create damage on the car and a lot of things. Okay, road infrastructure quality, in general, we feel is a little attention because evidently construct is very good. All the people is happy to do, but the maintenance is, whoa, evidently is a political criteria, is investment in to spend money. I say invest money. At the most used arguments are comfort. Comfort is like looks. It's not a good argument. And safety. And safety, it depends. Safety, someone said, if you improve the conditions, probably the people go up in terms of speed more. Well, this is for that I propose to use new arguments and to show why. One more time, you see, was the first document showed by Carsten in the presentation, is this document. I was, Carsten also, in the presentation made in the Parliament, European Parliament breakfast in 18 November 2016, and was a document made, you can download in the IAPA website, for example. It's a document made by IAPA, same organization at European level of the cement, UPEP, and federal administration of the roads. And it's very simple it's only 8 pages, and give a general overview in terms of how it's important, how much is important to maintain in good conditions in terms of emissions. Evidently, all the people feel is linked, but quantify is the most important question. Well, from this day, we start several things. The first things, we create in Spain a project named EMIPAP to promote, to invest, to know, because evidently the majority of the reference, if you read this document, is based on test tracks in special condition, not the normal use of the vehicles in a network. I was responsible to create the International Road Maintenance Day. All the people, everybody are invited to participate each year. Always is the first Thursday on April. We do that together with EAPA and ASEFMA, and probably next year will be also in Brussels. But the idea is to repeat, to defend the importance of the maintenance based on the arguments of the emissions. Was only on emissions, but there is another argument. And give a new vision for the road maintenance investment. Okay, very simple. Well, 1 year or 2 years, several years repeating the same argument, collecting information, seeing different things, and finally, thanks to the Asphalt 4.0, thanks to the big data, because the most important, most difficult thing is how to measure the consumption. If you try to analyze, imagining a highway, introducing gadgets into the vehicle is not evident. Finally, thanks to the big data, I will explain later, we do that and we show these results this year in the International Road Maintenance Day. We talk about M50. Is, you know, Madrid. Madrid, we have several rings around Madrid. M50 is the fourth, is the longest in terms of the distance. In total is 85 kilometers. The number of vehicles around 100,000. The administration charged is not directly the ministry, is SAID, is a public company, but under the control of the ministry. And he decided, according to the strategy, we have the opportunity because they invest 73 million euros to renew the payment, not only of F50, another payment, okay? And we consider it's an excellent opportunity to verify if the big data can give us information and quantify exactly which is the dependency between maintenance, state of the maintenance of the roads, and emission, consumption, etc. Well, we propose a plan. First thing is determination of the fleet. Second, analyze the sensibility of the big data, etc., etc. And evidently, starting, we know perfectly we are able, thanks to the big data, there is a special company in Spain, they collect data from the several companies, producer of cars, in this case is NIRA, and that means the group Volkswagen, and collect all the information from the new cars, is able to segment the information, and finally he create a pseudo-eveness, pseudo-ERI, able to be comparative in terms of the real ERI, made a traditional view, traditional point, or this, and absolutely verified, absolutely guarantee the result, the validation of the result. Okay. The fleet evidently is very important in terms of emissions. Thanks to cooperation with the traffic in Spain, Directorate General of Road, with the plates, we can determine 40% of the diesel cars, 30, I don't see, yes, informed, 30 are gasoline cars, diesel vans, etc., etc. We know very well all the distribution of fleets. And we know another very important thing, as you can imagine, 100,000 vehicles, if you try to analyze the state, the maintenance of the pavement, we need to make the measure when there isn't a traffic jam. Traffic jam, in particular, is very typical. Between 7 and 10 is not good to make the comparison. And it's for that we made the comparison between 0 hours and 7 or 10 to 13. Selecting these schedules, we don't have any problem, and we can verify the difference in terms of consumption of 100,000 vehicles each day. Evidently, we need to select the segments. We select several segments. I will show you exactly which are the segments. In total, we select 7 segments. The minimal length is 1.3 kilometers. The maximum is 9.9, is more or less similar. Very important thing is to know if the differences go down or go up the way, because you will see the difference in energy is important. And finally, we start to collect. This is the profile in terms of the M50 around Madrid. You know, Madrid is around 700 meters high, but you see the difference. Spain is like this always, and we see difference between 550 meters and quite 750 meters. It's for that we can select segments on difference positive or difference negative in terms of the level of. Here exactly is the 7 segments selected, you see. And the first thing is to analyze in terms of how could be, how will be. Only first, the project, I forget to say that, the project, this quantity of money is for 2 years. First year, I will show you this information. First year is after milling, we introduce 4 centimeters of the first course, binder course, and then next year will be, during this year, will be the course, the final course. And we see we are able only in one course to reduce 1 point in terms of medium, in terms of eveness. And we will make the comparison before November 23, excuse me, and after November 24. Exactly 1 year before milling and application of this course, and after. And this is the information. We start to see the real data. Well, the first thing, we made the addition of the segments. The total length is 28.1 kilometers, more or less 1/3 of the total length of the M50. Do you remember? 85? Okay. Second important information is in terms of consumption. We see we are able to reduce 11 million liters. Yes? Probably you don't wait, this so biggest data is incredible. And the second thing is very important also is the emissions derivated from this consumption. Collecting all the information. Thanks to the application of this first stage, because it's only preparing for the final application during this year, was quite finishing. We reduce in terms of consumption of fuel, considering a normal price, 1.5 or 1.4 in Spain is the price of the fuel, 18 million euros more or less, consumption of fuel. And in terms of the emissions, considering the price of the ton of CO2, 2 million. It's the first thing, wow, it's crazy that. Well, fuel consumption, you see here, is not linear. We know and we learn a lot of things. Evidently, all the people think, well, the most important thing could be if you improve the evenness, evidently the consumption will be lower. Depends. If you drive in a situation, no, evidently you need more energy and you feel that. But if you go down, it's not a question of evenness. Feel about you are on a bike. The effort you made when you are in this way. And if it's for that, the energy required is more important, especially when you go in the positive difference of a high. And here you see which is the difference we can obtain, more than 1 point in terms of evenness. Sometimes are the same, depending the state before. But in terms of translate consumption to emissions, very simple, is linear, is 2.64 or 2.35, depending this diesel or gasoil is very, very easy. And accumulating all this information, we start to know a lot of things. The first thing evidently I explained that, the influence of the vertical alignment is very important, evidently, much more important than the eveness. It's logical. You think about the effort. Evidently, one very important thing in terms of the consumption of fuel, total budget, will be the traffic. We find a very good argument to protect, to maintain in very important condition, the best condition, when you have a vertical alignment positive and high traffic. In terms of consumption, is evidently. And this is you know that this information is not the question, it's only to fix, to repeat the final data, but you will see in terms of annual saving economy estimation, repeat, 28.1 kilometers in terms of liters of emissions is like this, but easier to remember. In terms of economy, in terms of how much million euros we reduce on the consumption and we reduce on the emission is around 20 million euros. And the most important question, remembering this information, we spent 12.1 million euros, and we are able only in 1 year to obtain 20 million. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's for that I consider we have one very important argument to defend the importance of the maintenance of the road, thanks to the big data, thanks to the Asphalt 4.0. But don't forget that, because, in my opinion, to talk about comfort and safety is not the most adequate argument. It's for that I propose, Carsten, do you remember, I use a new philosophy, it's a way to explain the things. You will see, I changed the acronym because I was not happy. CARES, for me, I feel different. CARES is comfort and safety, is first letter and the last letter of this word. A, R, and emissions, I don't know why it was the format, well, is the reduced energy consumption and emission are the 5 letters inside. And CARES provide a key strategy in terms of to achieve national and international climate objectives. Evidently, all the people can think, me too, a lot of Green Deal, a big effort to try to reduce. Well, thanks to that, we have an excellent opportunity. We can show our activity, our paving to maintain the road. We can show we are a good way to reduce emissions. And in terms of administration, in Spain, absolutely was changed this year. Ministerio in Spain not only is pro this idea, CARES philosophy, if not, we start a collaboration between ASEFMA and Ministry to analyze and to obtain how many liters consumption of fuel, how many tons of emission, energy, because think not only combustion, think about electric, things about energy in general, we can reduce thanks to that. Evidently, change all the arguments and change the way to sell, if you can use this word, the importance of the maintenance. And we are justify investments in the preventive maintenance, and probably, in my opinion, could change the philosophy of the maintenance. The maintenance, in general, I feel we apply a system, the majority of the countries is curative. We have a problem, we solve, okay, that's right. But no, think about emissions, think about consumption. Could be totally different. And CARES open the access to the green funds. green funds is around us, is green, taxonomy, all the things. Please use these arguments. In general, we will make this, and this, how many kilometers, how many money, etc., etc. For me, the most important thing is to talk about energy consumption and emissions. And the last point is to talk about one more time, communication. Communication not only for the administration, communication for the user. I propose to reformulate the maintenance projects. I propose to integrate the emission, integrate the reduction of energy, integrate these arguments into the projects. I see on the road, project of rehabilitation. I say them often. My wife don't understand. In Macedonia, my wife was on the hall, and don't say that. Use another example. Well, the question is, I feel is not the best argument to defend that. Why not to start to use project to reduce emission, project to reduce the consumption, etc., better than the rehabilitation or reinforcement. Quantify expected reductions. Evidently, our experience in Spain could be used in other countries, or you can, if you are interested, we can do here. This is perfectly, big data are around the world. We have, thanks to the car, this information. The only thing we need is to have an investment of payment, establish a data, and to compare 1 year before and after. That's all. And I propose to be proactive in terms of communication and giving these arguments to the users. And create, for example, a road emissions map. Road emission map is very simple. Imagine, evidently the first thing is when the traffic is very high, be careful with that. Evidently with the level of mountain is very important. And the most important, much more than the emission, is capacity in our sector to reduce these emissions. And think about that. Think about the way to reduce the actual emissions thanks to the paving. Well, based on this CARES philosophy, in ASEFMA we have a slogan. On the past we said, ASEFMA, reinforcing the road, consolidating the future. That's okay, no? No, forget it. We prefer now to say ASEFMA, reducing emissions, reinforcing the roads. The scope, the goal is to link we are able to reduce emissions. Is our target. How we do that? Paving, but opposite to the traditional way. Evidently, I propose to stop with the typical projects to reinforcement, rehabilitation, etc., projects to reduce emission and fuel energy consumption of the vehicles between time and time. All the people understand? I repeat this message from the last 5 years several times. And in Madrid, the community of Madrid is the regional government, use that. You see it's in Spanish, but well, it's very easy to understand. Plan of minimization of emissions of the emissions generated by the vehicles or around using the network of Madrid. First example, someone catch the message. Well, I am absolutely sure the ministry will do the same. And why not to think, this is a very stupid example, but think about that. Why not to do something similar in terms of panels, signal? Why not to say to the citizen, to the user of the roads, the amount of emission reduction generated by the paving, or how, thanks to this activity, to this project, how was the reduction of consumption in your car? Evidently, we are not able to know which is the difference after and before, but we have the data, and the data is, you reduce here, for example, 8.9 was the data obtained, 8.9% of fuel consumption thanks to this project. All the people say, good thing. It's very simple. And we reduce together, because you are not only all the cars driving, we reduce X tons. Evidently, it's a joke, but well, it's to show that in terms of the... I finish only repeating the several arguments. In my opinion, it's very important, and we have an excellent opportunity thanks to the Green Deal. Reduce emission and energy is a good thing for us. We can be a key actor in terms of reduce emission in Europe. Remember, 20% actually of the emissions come from the road transport. We are very important to reduce the consumption, the energy of the vehicles. We can generate a European emission map. We try to do that. Change the name of the project to favorize this idea. And we can share this information with the citizen with signals. Think about this idea, the CARES philosophy, and to finish, an example to verify if all the people think. Imagine, this is, I said yesterday night to artificial intelligence, give me a very new payment made a good aspect. Well, offer me that, and it's not especially nice, but well. Do you defend that, saying, feel the comfort and safety? I hope after my conference, no, please. No. You say, this is the investment made? All the administration say, yes, we invest this quantity of money. Yes, but give arguments to be proactive, to promote a positive reaction of the user. And it's for that, talk about energy save it, talk about consumption, reduce it, talk about emissions, reduce it indefinitely. Finally, in my opinion, we must, it's my point of view evidently, to think about CARES philosophy. Thank you very much for your attention.